Hello, great one. Welcome back to another episode of Live and Be Great. I'm your host, Latonya McDonald. Happy 2026. Okay, I'm so happy that 2025 is over, and it was definitely a difficult year, rewarding, but definitely difficult. Referring to my charts, all right, I am a tiger in Chinese astrology, and 2025 was my enemy year because the snake and a monkey is my enemy year. And on your enemy year, you want to lay low, okay? You don't want to do too much. You want to move with basically should be taking on the personality traits of your enemy sign. Like some of it, like, snakes, they're strategic. They don't always tell you when they're coming, when they're about to strike, things of that nature. They're witty, right? So for those of you who are tigers, okay, look it up. I know, okay, along with the rest of the world struggle, but we felt it hit a little bit different. If you want an example, there's an influencer that is very toxic, in my opinion, but his name is Andrew Tate. And he got knocked out by a non-fighter, okay, before the end of the year. It was a pretty rough year for him too. He lost a lot. All right. But he wasn't laying low and maybe he didn't know. And he has a snake tattooed on the front of his chest. So that's a sidebar. If y'all don't believe in anything, that's just an example. Okay. So find out what you are and look it up. All right. And let me know. Like comment below if you could think about how your enemy year went or how your special year, your golden year, like my tiger year, whatever your Chinese astrology year is, those like really reflect so you know strategically how to move on it, right? Fast forward to what I want to talk about today. I was listening to an astrologer talk about certain house placements in your chart. And soon as I would say the sentence came on the screen, because she does like a PowerPoint presentation on each placement, I was bawling. And me and my husband were watching it on New Year's Eve, watching it New Year's Eve night, just trying to, go in with positivity and some encouragement and some preparation going into the new year. The thing that stuck with me was I didn't know that I could be loved without disappearing. Y'all, that took me out, okay? That took me completely out. And that sentence has been vibrating in my spirit since I heard it. And it really, I don't know, I started sometimes sometimes you hear a message early, right? And it may not be the right message, or you may not be able to receive it at the right time, You kinda go like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that's true, whatever." But sometimes the way people say it, it kinda unlocks something for you. Y'all, I really didn't know that. Like, I really when I say I lived by if I just don't show up or if I take myself out of the equation, there'll be peace, right? Like, I really didn't know that. And for a long time, I moved through the world thinking that love was a trade-off. I thought love required me to be easy. I thought it required me to be quiet, manageable, and Above all else, convenient. I convinced myself that peace was the goal. So I made myself smaller and smaller to keep it. But I'm realizing now that wasn't peace. That was a slow motion disappearance. Anybody who knows me knows that's what I do, or people who choose to misunderstand me, they don't see it in a way as me sacrificing my own peace so they can have peace. Somewhere along the way, I internalized this lie. If I show up fully, I'll ruin everything. I felt like my light was too bright, my thoughts were too deep, and my presence was just a lot. And that belief ran my life for a long time. I'm still working on it, okay? I really still am working on it. Even with, I would say, this, my business, I have a hard time promoting it. I have a hard time with social media. Even before I had the business, I had a hard time posting. I would say things like, I'm happy right now, and I have this picture that I took, and because I know people doom scroll and other people will be affected by me being happy, I don't want to post because I don't want to contribute to someone's sadness if they're not doing well. Yep. Sounds silly, when I say it out loud. Sounds silly when I would tell certain people, loved ones, as to why I don't post and why I'm not always on social media. It's a very overwhelming space for me. And why, I would tell my friends that I actually care about, don't be looking for me to figure out how you're doing or to just take how you're doing by me looking at your social media. No, I'm going to call you, right? And I learned a lesson from having friends that were in dark places and me not knowing when I did pop up on social media, seeing them happy, me not having a clue. And I I made it a point, you know, because I don't post on social media, so you not like that, so you're really not gonna know if I'm doing well or not. Okay? Not posting every day. Barely. I go months without posting. I'm trying to do better now. Still a work in progress. I think one of the biggest lies we're taught, especially if you're like me. I'm a Pisces, someone who is naturally sensitive, intuitive, and observant. And if you have these placements in your chart, probably are too. But being all of that, you feel like you are too much. You've probably heard it before, haven't you? You're too emotional. You're too deep. Why do you have to be so intense? Can you just let it go? And as a Pisces, we swim in the deep and by default. I've been doing that since I was a little girl. We see things others miss. We feel the energy in the room before anyone even speaks. But because the world doesn't always know what to do with that depth, we learn to soften our edges. We learn to pause before speaking, not because we're being thoughtful, but because we're trying to be safe. We learn to read the room before we ever check in with ourselves, and eventually shrinking starts to feel like a personality trait, but it's actually a survival tactic. So you learn to soften your voice. You learn to pause before speaking, not to be, hmm. I would say part of it is also the fear of being misunderstood because we are good listeners. I would say Pisces are very, very, very good listeners. But with all of that, the shrinking, it does start to feel normal. Now, the most painful misunderstanding people keep having about me is that I can take all of this pain and be fine. That you can dogpile on me, disrespect me, overlook me, assume things about me, and I'll just handle it. Like I'm made of stone, like I'm vibranium, but I'm not. Pain is pain. And being strong doesn't mean being numb. What hurts the most is realizing I taught people how to forget about me because I kept surviving silently. It was that protection from conflict, protection from jealousy, and rejection. People know me. I will leave. I will swim away. It usually takes a lot for me to do so. It does. Now that I'm getting older, not so much. I am the type that somebody could be really mean to me, everybody see it, and the first thing I do is, "Well, I know their childhood was bad. I know they might be having a bad day. They didn't mean it." And I would tell people that would be my mediation. I would tell people, "Wait, wait, wait, before you get upset, find out if they meant to hurt you or not. Maybe they didn't intend to hurt you. If they didn't intend to hurt you, tell them how you felt and give them another chance. But if they intend it, then do what you gotta do," right? I didn't know. I did not know that that was me making peace and giving space to other people. And in a way, I was telling myself that I don't deserve peace too. I was performing peace, basically. And that cost a lot. It cost a lot for to be the strong one and for everyone to feel as if you can take everything or this person is so likable. They have so many other different friends. They'll be fine. I don't, I really don't know how to explain it, but if you understand where I'm coming from, let me know. And y'all, even this podcast, even hearing my voice, because I have trauma around my voice, which is able to put a name to it by analyzing my chart. I have a Chiron in Gemini, and Chiron in astrology is the wounded healer, and you basically need to heal that wound in order to help other people as a part of your purpose in this world, right? And Gemini is a planet of communication. So if you have that placement, you have issues with feeling like what you have to say matters, and people will let you know, like, from a very, very young age, there has been teachers and the community, siblings, cousins, whoever. When you hear my voice, I know my voice is unique, so people often imitate it. And I make up my own language because I have a Mercury in Pisces, and, to not be understood, to be, I would say, misunderstood, to not be to be toned down, to be acceptable. I will change the language, make up my own terms. Difficult to explain myself, but I can explain others, right? That part. So if that is your upbringing, people were teaching me that I should just be quiet. Felt like punishment when you have that issue. It's not an issue now. It isn't an issue now. Just by me doing this podcast is since 2020 is like I didn't realize that it was me healing that part because there are also compliments, right? There are also compliments. There's people that will say that my voice is very soothing. There are people that will say when I call you, I feel like everything's going to be okay. There's even people that will say, "Thanks, Tanya, for making me feel like I don't really have no issues. Like my problem is really nothing, and I was tripping." Yes, 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 yes. Have that effect on people. And sometimes it is easier to focus on the negative once it hits, even though you might be around the same time getting the positive. But and it happens at a young age, that's why understanding your childhood trauma and healing from that really, 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 really is pivotal if you want more for your life and if you're unhappy. If you're trying to grow and evolve into who you were meant to be, it's important that you look at it because what happens in your life how you were treated based off of your design, you perceive the world in a certain way. And if you do the work, then you'll be able to retell that story. Tell it in a way that empowers you instead of shame you, right? Now, people who benefit from me being quiet usually are the people who probably see the most potential in me. And sometimes you ever have somebody that is jealous of you and you feel like they have more than you and they don't have nothing to be jealous about, and you don't treat them differently, but they're just a hater, okay? We all got those. And by you being quiet, they get to continue to make themselves feel better based off of you not figuring out who you are. They depend on you being quiet and never fully stepping into your true potential. Remember, I'm the one who was I don't want to post anything because I'm worried about people being have disappearing, right? And there's a difference between disappearing and privacy. Privacy, that to me is when don't post all your personal business on social media, right? If you're in a relationship with somebody, call them and talk to them. Polarizing things that you haven't fully processed about yourself. Shouldn't post that. You should stay private about that. Disappearing is I don't want to post this selfie because I'm happy today. I look good. I feel good. And I don't want someone I don't want someone to, like I said before, I don't want somebody to look so deep into it that it causes them to attack me because they're not happy. How they feel about me, the truth of the matter, they was going to feel that way regardless of whether I posted it or not. Because people still talk mess, whether you post things or not. Like, that is my experience. Whether I'm posting things or not, it gets back to me who my real friends are, who my true loved ones are, who truly has my best interests at heart. It does. And when you're quiet and when you dim your light, you make them more comfortable. You just boost their power. And I'm not going to do that anymore. Y'all, even this podcast is part of me disappearing because I don't promote it as I should, and I should have been. It's weird for me because of that fear of rejection, that jealousy, the conflict, all of that, being misunderstood, all of that. Somebody trying to put me in a box. I know I'm a multifaceted person. I know I am. I know I have many talents. I know I am gifted. I know I save lives every day. That's the truth. So why should I continue to disappear? Why should I? And you shouldn't either. You shouldn't. And I would say I had to catch myself. One of the ways that I disappeared this year, and I want to say I'm on a fence. I feel like people might say this is protection, right? It is protection. And I could lean over into disappearing if I continue or if I throw the baby out with the bathwater, I should say. I'm a dancer as well. I have my undergrad in theater and dance, and I was going to back to the dance studio, and there's a lot of drama that happened at that dance studio. So much drama. Since I moved to North Carolina, and it started off great. So return back to the stage, and it was my tiger year. Haha, sidebar. Turn back to the stage. So many great things happened. During that, so many great things happened during that year. I'm pretty sure I've talked about it before on any of these episodes, but I didn't know it was my tiger year at the time. But when I wish I did, I would have done more. But that was an amazing year. So many first things happened to me. So many things I got back. It was the best year. But after that, when I did show up as myself. Some of the same triggers happened, and I'm usually the one to find out about it. I'm usually the one that there's a discrepancy. If there's a discrepancy in the leadership in the organization, I'm going to be the first one to find it or experience it myself. And I'm usually the one to speak up about it, right? So things happen to where at the studio, just things did not align with my spirit anymore. And one in particular was, I would say, the last straw. It was worse things that happened before then, but the last straw was dance, because dance is a spiritual thing for me, right? I don't dance to abusers any longer. I just don't. And if you're a dancer, specifically hip hop dancer, Chris Brown, when people can say they want to separate the art from the artist because the artist is so talented, that is why people still support Chris Brown, even though Chris Brown every year since the Rihanna incident has had violent incidents still to this day. Okay. And my spirit doesn't align with that. It just doesn't any longer. I can't. So that's usually what you hear in the dance studios, right? It's usually what you hear. And I went to class, and usually the choreographer, they will do a routine twice. And I said, that usually works because the choreographer usually does it one week and then they do it the next week. They do the same routine. Fast forward to, you know, another time I went, and heard Chris Brown again. So I was like, "Oh, okay, I'ma do the same thing, push my class over, right? Push my class over, and it's Chris Brown again. Not the same song, different song, same Chris Brown." I was like, "You know what? That's it. That's my sign. It's time to go." And some people may feel like, "Oh, it's just music," but no. And I'm not the type to, I was asked, like, can you just ask the choreographer if they're gonna be dancing to Chris Brown? I said no, because last time I asked that same choreographer what we were dancing to that day, he was like, "No, it's gonna be a surprise." And I was just like, I'm not, here comes the disappearance. I'm not trying to stop somebody's flow of artistry based off of what they want to do and how they benefit from it. So just because of me, because I know everybody else doesn't think like me, because everybody still will be in the class and I will be the only one to make up an excuse and walk out. That's who I am. I'm a leader. Tiger, leadership, life path one, leadership. That's just that's me. That's my identity. Right. So I said, Imma leave. I'm still gonna dance, okay? And, it was brought to my attention that, wait, other dance studios are gonna be dancing to this person. You're just gonna leave every single time? I was like, well, maybe I won't go to a dance studio for right now. Like, I haven't figured that out. I know I have a dance studio that I put in the front of my house, and I've had friends over. And maybe I just have to do it my own way, right? So that's part of that protection, to where I don't disappear completely, but I just disappear from that space because it's been so much that was worse that happened. And I just took that as that sign to just bounce. But that is my initial thought process. Like, if I just leave, you might say, okay, well, maybe you should tell the choreographer. because, like I said, with that specific studio, it's been so much that has happened, and it's not gonna stop me from dancing, and I think that was some of my friends' worries, like, it was gonna stop me from dancing for good. I'm just like, "Nah, it's not gonna stop that. It's not gonna stop that. I'm gonna keep dancing. I'm going to keep being accountable and creating my own peace on my own terms," right? That's what I'm gonna do. Whew. I wanna stop apologizing for being myself, how I talk, how I think, how I show up, how I look, and just be myself regardless. That's what I wanna do. And when it comes to friendships and families and relationships, with all that being said, I would say how that looks like I want equal participation in my friendships. Don't want jealousy. I don't want the superficial. I want, if I'm going to show up for you, show up for me. I want to go back to the days where, I haven't heard from you in a minute. I'm pulling up. I want to be able to do that. I want to bring that back. I want to teach people how to do that when it comes to their relationships that they actually care about, because there's a lot of people that feel lonely and have so many friends, but they're not calling them. Me, I know I attracted a lot of friends that I'm still friends with to this day, but a lot of friends that felt as though, "Hey, I'm gonna go through something, but I'm not gonna call anybody because I don't wanna burden anybody. I'll tell them after I get over it." Or some people that feel like too much time has passed because I'm an adult and I spend my time feeling like I am not enough. I'm not doing enough in my life. I'm overworking myself, overcompensating in areas to where my relationships fall because I don't feel like where I'm at is good enough to show up and be present. Not just for other people, but myself, I need that community. I need that fellowship. We can't do that. We cannot. I want to change it. I want to change the world and I want to show up. I no longer want to feel that if I disappear, everything will be okay, or that I want to, s- I actually want to feel that I can show up and be loved. And I don't have to disappear to be loved, because it still hits me. It still hits me. It still hits me. It still hits me. It still does. It still does. Comment below. Comment if you're listening, wherever you're listening at. Comment below. What do you guys think about these situations, specifically that dance situation? Do you feel where I'm coming from? Right? Or do you think I should give it another shot at this studio? I really shouldn't, because if I really tell y'all everything, I will have my case will rest my case, okay? Like, just know if you having Pisces around you, it takes a minute, right? And then when we done, we big time done. Big time. It's like we never knew you, all right? It's how it is. How it is. I'm reasonable. I am very, very reasonable, but I want to start being reasonable to myself and telling myself I deserve peace and showing up for me fully, fully. But also in these relationships, no more. No more hiding. I don't want to hide no more, right? I don't want to be the one that is not speaking when I should, not asking for help, not going to events when my heart wants to, not posting because what if it makes someone feel worse? Letting people misname me, misunderstand me, misrepresent me, not correcting people because I don't want conflict. And the loneliness of doing the work, the real inner work, while others aren't, that isolation makes disappearing feel safer than being seen. It does, but I can't do that no more. I can't. I can't do that anymore. Mm-mm. Imma push myself. I also don't wanna always be the one that initiates conversations, check-ins, repair, connection, because when you're initiating all the time, you start wondering, would anyone choose me if I stopped? And you should test that if you're someone who test it and watch what happens. Sidebar, people could be feeling, like I said, you will attract people who are just like you as well, but call it out. Be the one to call that out and then give them a chance because it could be so exhausting. So exhausting. Someone reaching out to you matters. Someone calling you without a reason matters. That's not neediness. That's reciprocity. And that is what I'm requiring now. That's what I'm requiring. Here's the new sentence I'm choosing. If I fully show up, I'll be free. Not attacked, not abandoned, not punished, free. And the people who can't handle my fullness, they were never meant to benefit from my silence. I want to leave you with something practical. Step 1, name how you disappear. Not speaking, not asking, not going, not posting. Say it out loud. Step 2, name the fear under it. If I show up fully, I'm afraid I'll be fill in the blank. It could be misunderstood, rejected, attacked, blamed, because those were mine. Step 3, set an voice protecting boundary. Mine is this. Don't assume. Give me time to process. Let me speak. Step 4, take one micro action this week. One moment where you don't shrink. One truth you don't swallow. That's how freedom starts. Now, if you needed permission today, here it is. You can be loved without disappearing. You don't have to erase yourself to be safe. You don't have to carry everything quietly to be worthy. And if the peace cost you your voice, it was never peace to begin with. If showing up fully frees you, then freedom is your birthright. That's what I got from the astrologer that I was listening to, going through my chart. I'm taking that permission. I'm accepting the permission. I'm providing the permission to you to do the same. If this episode spoke to you, share it with someone who's been shrinking too. Comment or message me with the word free if this hits home, all right? And if you're ready for that accountability to show up as your true self, sign up for a free consultation or any of the services that I provide. The links will be in the description. It's time. I got you. We're going to hold each other. We're going to walk each other through it. We're going to do it together. You don't have to do this alone. All right. Thank you all for listening. And remember, give yourself permission to live and be great.